This is Jenna Bird, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What is up, my friends? Thank you for listening to this podcast, Rewritten. I am your host, Julianne Condia. You can find me on Instagram at Julianne Condia, at the Rewritten Society, or juliannecondia.com. I would love for you to come over to Instagram and read some of my content. I don't just have this podcast, I also have posts that I want to empower you. So go check that out. After you're done listening to this episode, go ahead and screenshot it, upload it to Instagram, and let me know how it spoke to you. It matters. It really does. You doing that makes me so excited, and I just want to connect with you, and I want to high five you. I am cheering for you. Public House Media, thank you for having this platform for Rewritten. I appreciate you and all of the hard work that you pour into this podcast. It really means a whole heck of a lot. I am so excited about this episode because I think the reason that I'm so excited about it is because it really hits my heartstrings. Because I've walked this. I've struggled with this. This is something that I didn't know how to quite articulate. And then after I read some personal development, it was just this aha moment of, oh wow, this just moved me because I have dealt with this. I'm sure I'm not done dealing with it. I'm sure there will be another time that it comes into my life, it comes up into my life, and I think awareness is everything. Once we're aware of something, we can take responsibility. But if we're not aware of it, it's hard to take responsibility. So much of my personal growth isn't that I don't deal with hardships or struggles, limitations, or setbacks. It's that personal development has helped me acknowledge them, be upfront with them, move past them, work on them, and just take responsibility. And it makes me so sad that so many people think that personal development is silly, just because I really do think that personal development helps you become a better friend, a better wife, a better mom, a better person, because you're more aware of what you deal with in your head. And a lot of times, so many of our thoughts aren't spoken out, and we deal with them. And sometimes we can really bash ourselves or just be in this constant battle and war. And I just think that personal development has helped me be more vulnerable, but also really talk out what's happening in my head. Because sometimes we just think it's silly or stupid or we're embarrassed. And I think it just loses all its power when we can speak it out. So a book that I recently read and finished is The 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit. And it was really good. And I love that it was biblically based as well. It takes you through a story in the Bible, but it really breaks down those 5 habits. And I just thought it was so well written and honest. And I loved that. But there was a part in this book that I just had to share with you because it moved me. And it was all about emotional generosity and the struggle that can be with that. And I guess I have never thought about emotional generosity. So I want to share a little bit about what I learned and what I read is where you sow your emotional generosity may not be where you reap it. But when a woman who decides to pour into others what she needs, her God is on her side. And I see this often with people that I work with or mentor or need help from me, want me to coach them, help them become fit in every area of life, is that they're looking to get. They're finding out what they're not getting in life, and it frustrates them. I've been here before where you feel left out, you feel isolated, you feel like your friends hang out without you, you feel alone, and you don't feel supported, you don't feel like you fit in. And I think a lot of us can identify with that in some point or another, some part of your life. And I always think about, well, you need to give. Like you have to give without that expectation of getting anything in return. And I feel like the more you give, the more you end up getting, not necessarily material wise or all these friendships, but it's more like it heals your heart. It does something to you emotionally. It helps you mentally. And I just think that that is the best kind of gift. So emotional generosity may not be where you reap it. But when a woman who decides to pour into others what she needs, her God is on her side. She is seen, she is heard, she is loved, and she is given what she needs. And maybe not in the way you thought that you needed, right? And when we have what we need, we are able to accept the refinement assignment God gives. So this author was talking about, she said, I'm afraid our world teaches us to fight for what we want and not for what we need. That hit me, my friend. I'm going to read that one more time. I'm afraid our world teaches us to fight for what we want and not what we need. There is such a difference. There is a huge difference in that. Oh my goodness. And for women who have the tendency to give in too quickly, to the temptation to give up, we have to know how to battle. Fighting for what we want leads to battles for what we will leave, that will leave us completely worn out. Fighting for what we want leads to battles that will leave us completely worn out. They are internal battles that can lead others and us to forfeit. So here's an example. I really like this. I want to sleep in, but I need to get up and work out. I want to drink that Coke, but I need to drink water. I want to buy this dress, but I need a pair of socks. I want my husband to do nice things for me, but I need his commitment till death do us part. If we don't know what our real needs are in the midst of a battle, defeat will soon follow. Can you relate to that, my friend? Sometimes it's the simplest things that change our lives the most. So good. Sometimes it's the simplest things that change our lives the most. And a shift from working toward what we want to work towards what we need has the potential to develop something in us called a holy ease. So she was talking about how there are 10 ways to be emotionally generous. And I had to highlight every single one of these, and I need to share them with you. They're so good. Send a text to someone right now telling them something great you love about their life. Allow the person behind you in the grocery store line to go ahead of you. At the office, put away something your coworker left out. Number 4, do one of your kids' chores for them. The next time a friend bails on you, give her so much grace and set her free from worrying you might be upset with her. Number 6, write out a prayer for someone who is going through a difficult time, or say a prayer. Ask a neighbor before you run errands if there's anything you can do for her. Be responsive in a timely manner with your emails and text messages. I need to get better at that. Share others people's projects, websites, or ideas on your social media. Before complaining about a problem, this is huge, think of a solution you could bring to it. How good is that? And so she was actually talking about the emotional support and the emotional generosity to people, because she said something along the lines of, when you see someone else having success, is it hard for you? Like internally, are you struggling? And I was just thinking about, oh my gosh, I've definitely felt that way before. you have to remember that giving always wins. Being generous with what we put out to this world is everything. And do not withhold good from others. Because I want you to ask yourself this question. Does seeing other people happy remind you of how unhappy you are? Yes or no? Do you see people who are pursuing the same goals as you as competition? Yes or no? I have, and that is not a fun feeling. Number 3, when you have an idea, do you keep it to yourself? Yes or no? If someone else is praised for something you do too, do you feel resentful? Do you feel discontent when others experience the same successes in life you have? Did you feel unhappy the last time you heard someone got something you wanted? Oh, friend. Do you find it difficult to give others compliments? Yes or no? We all have room for growth, and we are all a work in progress. So when I'm struggling to be emotionally generous, I praise people. I give back. I bring them into my circle. I champion them. And sometimes it's really hard because scarcity. It's not that you don't want that person to be successful or experience happiness and good. Oh, I just remember thinking that too with a miscarriage and you feeling like everyone's getting pregnant. And I just remember praying about that because gratefulness and bitterness cannot live together, right? So being happy for them. And sometimes that just takes practice of congratulating them, writing them a card, being so massively excited for them because what you focus on becomes your reality. And being emotionally generous takes time, awareness, and responsibility. Friend, I hope this spoke to you as much as it spoke to me because I needed to hear it myself because I have been there. I'm sure it's not going to be the last time. I'm sure there's more to come. But again, because I'm aware of it, I know how to be proactive and work through it because no one is our competition. We are all here to link arms and encourage. And sometimes our scarcity, fear, and doubt can get in the way of that. And at the end of the day, don't you just want people to win? Don't you want them to live their best life? It doesn't have to be a reflection of how sucky yours is. In fact, you should be like, man, I love being so excited for people because that is what life is all about. Thank you for listening. Take a screenshot. Let me know how this spoke to you. Again, the book is 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit. I really think you'll love it. All right, I'll talk to you soon.